The next-gen Chevy Silverado, the 2027 all-new Chevy Silverado 1500, was just leaked, and it was leaked by, I'll give you a minute to guess who it was leaked by. All right, I'll bet you that the United States Patent and Trademark Office was not something that you had guessed. But yes, indeed, it was leaked by the USPTO, and let's now have a look.
MOTROLIX.
Welcome back to the channel. I'm Alex Luft from GMAuthority.com. And those of you who have been following the site as well as my videos, you'll probably already know that we've been on the bleeding edge of reporting everything there is to report on this next generation 2027 Chevy Silverado, including things like its platform, the timing of its release, its engines, and really all kinds of spy shots that have shown the next-gen Silverado exclusively as a camo-clad prototype until now. Indeed, thanks to a recent filing with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, the exterior styling for the next-generation full-size pickup is now on full display, albeit as a black and white diagram. The filing was made on December 9th, 2025, and although it doesn't include a specific vehicle nameplate, it very much appears to be the next-gen 2027 Chevy Silverado. Tell me it's not so. Tell me. It is the Silverado. Come on. Compared to the current generation, the next-gen 2027 Chevy Silverado 1500 features noticeably sharper styling with a more rugged demeanor. The front end in the patent drawings looks more upright and more blocky, with a rectangular grille and more rigid horizontal and vertical lines. The headlights in the patent images show more prominent C-shaped lighting signatures, very much like the refreshed front end on Chevrolet's full-size SUVs, the Chevy Tahoe and Chevy Suburban for the 2025 and newer model years. We, in fact, did a rendering back in May 2025 of what we thought the next generation Silverado 1500 would look like, and guess what? Our rendering, at least the front end of it, looked very similar to what we see in these patent design renderings here. So this lighting setup that we see here has the topmost horizontal bit, which is actually the DRL. That's the horizontally oriented light. And we've seen this light peeking out from underneath the camo in all of the spy shots that we have brought you so far. That signature DRL continues down into the fascia, and the actual headlamp is housed on the inside of this signature. Now let's look at the top of the roof, where there appear to be amber indicators like on the Silverado HD. But I don't think that those are actually amber indicators or amber roof-mounted running lights. Instead, a little birdie tells me that this diagram actually represents part of the build process for the roof, and those are simply mounting points for parts of the roof. So don't expect those to actually make their way to the production 2027 Silverado 1500. Sorry to disappoint in case you were hoping to have those on the production spec model. Also, take a look at the hood, which features these really big bulges as part of the surface development of the panel. There's also a set of fog lights at the outer edges of the lower fascia. The lower grille is followed by a visible lower air dam, which makes me think that we're looking at a regular LT or RST model as opposed to an off-road one like the Trail Boss or the ZR2, which probably won't have this kind of air dam. And I really do hope that GM made it easy to remove this air dam, because that would be the first thing that I'd be removing, just really ripping off if I were to get one of these myself. MPGs and fuel economy be damned. From the side, we can see a similar silhouette as the current Silverado 1500, but with a more upright character and more intricate surface development. The mirrors feature a differently shaped mounting mechanism than those on the current generation model. And there's also an interesting thing here about the crew cab's rear doors, which trade the curves for edges in two visible places. The first is the window shape at the end of the rear door, and the second is at the rearmost lower corner of the door. There's no more kind of that little kink at the actual swing panel like there is on the current Silverado. At the rear, these images show the 2027 Silverado to have reshaped taillights. Then they're shaped really similarly to the ones on the Silverado EV. There's also a set of wider fenders, similar to what we see in the redesigned 2023 and newer Colorado, which really gained a lot more body and surface development when it made the generational transition. Also, the corner step rear bumpers appear to be bigger, and the center bumper step, that's the one around the license plate area, it has been reshaped to have more edges to it at the distal part of the step. And then there is also the tailgate, which either has a lot of intricate surface development on it, or it foreshadows a revision to the multi-flex tailgate. Which direction this will go in, we just don't know right now. Looking lower into the rear fascia, we see a space for dual exhaust outlets. Now, we already know that this will be occupied by a set of quad exhaust tips, like the ones on the Corvette C8 Stingray and E-Ray, as well as the 2024 and newer Chevy Traverse, and the 2025 and newer Tahoe and Suburban. And one other thing that we can see from the rear 3/4 angle is the Chimsel, the center high-mounted stop lamp, which seems to be quite a bit wider than the one on the current Silverado. So I suspect that designers are using that space to introduce even more light and even more lamps, thereby providing even better illumination of the box. Expect the next-gen Silverado 1500 to be announced in 2026 as a 2027 model, with the existing Turbomax 4-cylinder gasoline engine and the Baby Duramax straight 6 diesel engine, plus 2 new small block GM 6th generation engines, one displacing 5.7 liters and the other displacing 6.6 liters. Both of those displacements were first reported by GMAuthority.com. And so there you have it, our very, very first look at the upcoming 2027 Silverado 1500 with no camo. And even though these are just sketches, they really do give us a better idea of what we can expect from a design standpoint from this next generation truck. For the MOTROLIX Network and GMAuthority.com, I'm Alex Luft. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.
MOTROLIX.